In Monster Hunter World, there are many aspects to consider when taking on a hunt. The target, your weapon, these are all important, but hunters who want optimal performance need to consider the build they use via the gear and armour they wear. I'm Darcblade, and here are the builds that I use for the hunting horn. The skills that you gain from armour and even some weapons can help shape your hunter into specialised hunting machines. With the hunting horn, I've gone for a mix of DPS and support based builds. Whilst yes, the hunting horn is one of the most valuable support weapons in the game, thanks to the sheer amount of songs it can bring to a hunting party, it shouldn't be discounted when it comes to dealing out damage. So the first build I use is the DPS build. This build drops all support in favour for dealing out as much damage as possible with the hunting horn. It is not an Elementless build, and instead utilises the Devil Joe hunting horn Deep Vero, which also comes with some of the more useful songs a hunting horn can have. So, for this build you need the Nergigante Helm Beta, Draken Mail Alpha, Draken Vambraces Alpha, Draken Coil Alpha, and the Draken Greaves Alpha. I'm also using a Handicraft Charm 3, and for my weapon I'm using the weapon Deep Vero with an affinity increase augmentation on it, and then an augmentation of your choice. I've gone with a slot upgrade. When it comes to the jaws, as this is a DPS focused build, I've gone for jaws to help my crit and attack. So I'm using an attack jaw to get my attack boost to at least rank 4, which gives the build an extra 5% affinity. Afterwards I've gone for tenderizer jaws to max out weakness exploit, a critical jaw to max out crit boost, an expert jaw to max out critical eye, a mighty jaw to max out maximum might, and finally I've gone with a sonorous jaw. The sonorous jaw is pretty much used on all the hunting horn builds, as this provides you the Horn Maestro skill, increasing how long your songs last. So, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 1037 attack, white sharpness, 45% affinity, which is actually 95 should you be going for weak points, 240 dragon rating with high elder seal, with strong defences against thunder and especially dragon, but you're relatively weak to the rest. As for the skills, you have the following: critical eye level 7, attack boost level 4, crit boost level 3, which increases the damage of our critical attacks, weakness exploit level 3, which increases our affinity when going for weak points, handicraft level 3, which increases the sharpness of the weapon, maximum might level 3, which increases our affinity so long as you have maximum stamina, although with the hunting horn you shouldn't be using that much stamina anyway, power prolonger level 1, this is a byproduct of the gear, it's not really needed on this build, and horn maestro level 1. You also have the set bonuses from the Soul of the Dragon Elemental Airborne, increasing the elemental damage when you perform jumping attacks, and Master's Touch, which prevents sharpness loss when you crit a monster. And with this build's high affinity, you shouldn't lose too much sharpness, so long as you're going for weak points. Now with this build as well, you'll also have access to the songs Increased Attack, Increased Defense, Health Boost, and Wind Pressure Negation. So as you can see, this is a build that is focused on pure DPS rather than survivability or team support even. This is the build I tend to go for if I'm hunting monsters solo and they don't have a high resistance to the dragon rating. Unfortunately though, it is locked behind taking down Behemoth as the Draken set is heavily featured. Nonetheless though, with this build you can bring down monsters quickly just so long as you're going for weak points. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the Elemental Hunting Horn build. This again is a DPS focused hunting horn build that makes use of elemental weaknesses a monster has. For the purpose of this video, I'll be demonstrating a Thunder Elemental build. So for this build you'll need the Kirin Horns Gamma, the Rathalos Mail Beta, the Azure Starlord's Gauntlets Alpha, the Kirin Hoop Beta, the Kaiser Greaves Gamma, and the Mighty Charm 2. I'm also using the Thunderbolt Horn 2, which has an affinity increase augmentation on it, and then an augmentation of your choice. I've gone for health regen for a little bit of survivability. Now as for the jewels, I've gone for a Bolt Jewel to increase the elemental value to level 4. I didn't go to level 5 because thanks to the hunting horn having an elemental attack boost song, it means it will max it out when the song is active. I've also gone for Expert Jaws to boost critical eye, Tenderizer Jaw to max out weakness exploit, Sonorous Jaw to boost our song's durations, a Sharp Jaw which provides protective polish, and finally I've gone for a KO Jaw. The KO Jaw in all honesty is purely optional here, but can help with the knockout effect the hunting horn has when going for a monster's head. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 735 attack, blue sharpness, 50% affinity, which is actually 100% should you be going for weak points and have maximum stamina, 640 elemental rating, which is actually 700 once you have the elemental attack boost song active, as shown in this picture, and you'll have strong defenses against thunder and dragon, but fairly weak to ice. As for the skills, you'll have a critical eye level 5, thunder attack level 4, weakness exploit level 3, recovery up level 2, blight resistance level 2, these are just byproducts of the gear, but can come in useful for defense. Maximum Might level 2, Slugger level 1, which boosts our knockout potential when going for monster's head, Horn Maestro level 1 and Protective Polish level 1. You'll also have the Rathalos Mastery critical element set bonus, increasing the elemental damage on a monster when we crit them. Now with this build using the Thunderbolt Horn, you'll have access to health recovery, recovery speed, divine protection, thunder resistance boost, elemental attack boost and sonic wave songs. So there we have it. Overall this build is not too difficult to craft, and although it does focus heavily on DPS, thanks to the songs the Thunderbolt Horn has available to it, there is a little bit of survivability there as well. Not much mind you, but a little bit helps. Also, this build isn't locked behind hard to get gear. The most tricky parts would be getting the Kaiser Greaves Gamma and the Kirin Horns Gamma. You can, if you would like to use a different element, swap out the Thunderbolt Horn to whatever weapon you wish, although this will change the songs available to you, and it means that you'll have to swap out the Kirin Horns Gamma as well as the Bolt Gems. Just remember to switch them to whatever element you are using. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the Knockout build. The Hunting Horn, much like the hammer, is a blunt weapon, and thus has very good knockout potential. So long as you're hitting a monster in the head, there will be times during a hunt where it will be stunned and seeing stars. This build should allow hunters to stun a monster multiple times via knocking them out. Once again, this is steered more towards DPS than anything else. So for this build you'll need the Nergigante Helm Beta, the Diablos Nero Male Beta, the Draken Vambraces Alpha, Diablos Nero Coil Beta, and the Dante's Leather Greaves Alpha. I'm also using a KO Charm 3, and for my weapon I'm using Desolation's Overture. This has an affinity increase augmentation on it. As for your jewels, again I've gone for a mix of DPS focused jewels, so I've added attack jewels, tenderizer jewels, critical jewels, expert jewels, mighty jewels, and finally a sonorous jewel. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 995 attack, blue sharpness, 50% affinity, which is actually 100% should you be going for weak points and have maximum stamina, 150 dragon rating with high elder seal, and you'll have strong defenses against dragon and fire but fairly weak to ice and water. As for the skills, you'll have attack boost level 4, critical eye level 4, weakness exploit level 3, slugger level 3 which boosts the knockout potential of this build, maximum might level 2, critical boost level 3, resentment level 2, this increases your attack when you have a portion of red health after being hit, and Horn Maestro level 1. You'll also have the Diablos Mastery set bonus, Bludgeoner, which powers up weapons when they lose sharpness and boosts the odds of stunning a monster. Also with this build, thanks to using the Desolation's Overture, you'll have the health recovery, affinity up, and earplugs songs at your disposal. So there we have it. Overall this build is not too difficult to craft whatsoever. The only hard piece would be maybe the Draken Vambraces Alpha, but these are still achievable. The main goal of this build is to be hitting a monster in the head. As long as you're doing that, then you should easily be able to bring a monster down. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the support build. This is a pure support build that focuses on keeping a team alive, utilising wide range and the Mushroom Mancer skills. So for this build you'll need the Empress Crown Gamma, the Empress Male Beta, Empress Vambraces Beta, the Empress Coil Beta and the Empress Greaves Beta. I'm also using a Mushroom Mancer Charm 2, and for my weapon once again I'm using Desolation's Overture with an affinity increase augmentation on it. When it comes to the jewels, most of them are focused on turning this build into a pure support build. However, there was room for a few DPS focused jewels here. So I've gone for Friendship Jewels to max out wide range, Fungiform Jewel to max out Mushroom Mancer, a Sated Jewel to provide the free meal skill, Sonorous Jewel of course as this is a Hunting Horn build, Gobbler Jewels, a Vitality Jewel to boost our health, a Maintenance Jewel, and then I've gone for Tenderizer Jewels and a Mighty Jewel just to boost our affinity a little bit. So we do have some damage options. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 150 health, 100 stamina, 945 attack, blue sharpness, 20% affinity, which is actually 70% so long as you have maximum stamina and you go for weak points, 150 dragon rating with high elder seal, and you'll have strong defenses against fire, thunder and water, but you're fairly weak to ice and dragon. You also have the following skills: wide range level 5. Wide range means that any ally that is close to you, when you take a potion or other consumable, it means the full effect will be passed on to them as well, which means that when you heal via a potion or blue mushroom, it means that the effect is passed on to your allies, which is the whole point of this build. You also have health boost level 3, increasing our maximum health, weakness exploit level 3, peak performance level 3. This is a byproduct of the gear, but can come in handy for boosting our attack when we have full health. Speed Eating level 3, which this is thanks to the Gobbler jaw. This allows us to consume our potions at a very fast pace. Mushroom-mancer level 3, which allows us to eat raw mushrooms and receive various benefits from them. I'd strongly recommend making a set item loadout that utilizes the raw mushrooms, as they can come in handy for quick heals via blue mushrooms and buffing your team with the various other ones. You'll have Tool Specialist level 3, this reduces our cooldown for our boosters and mantles and such. You'll have Horn Maestro level 1, Free Meal level 1, which means that when you consume an item there's a chance that it won't be actually used up, and you'll have Maximum Might level 1. You'll also have the Lunostra's Favour set bonuses, Stamina Cap up, increasing our maximum stamina from 100 to 150, and you'll have the Mind's Eye skill as well, preventing your horn from bouncing off a monster's hide when attacking it. Also, thanks to using Desolation's Overture, you'll have access to the Health Recovery, Affinity up, and Earplug songs. So as you can see, this is a pure support build, but despite that, it still has offensive options thanks to a little bit of maximum might, maxed out weakness exploit, and peak performance. Also thanks to the affinity increase on Desolation's Overture and the fact that it has an affinity increase song, it still means that you can often crit so long as you're going for a monster's weak point. Also, this build is fairly easy to craft. The only hard piece would be the Empress Crown Gamma, and this, in all honesty, can be replaced. Apart from that, it's all the Empress Beta set, which isn't too difficult to craft, and it just goes to show how versatile this outfit is thanks to the sheer amount of gem slots it has. Of course, there is a lot of room for editing here if you don't have what is available in this video. You just want to make sure that you have that wide range and mushroom mats are maxed out. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the free element Ailment Build. This utilizes weapons that have their ailment rating hidden. In this demonstration, I'll be showing a paralysis build. This build is a mix mash of DPS, support, defense, and more importantly, crowd control. So for this build, you'll need the Zora Headgear Gamma, the Kirin Jacket Gamma, Zora Claws Gamma, Zora Spine Gamma, and Dante's Leather Boots Alpha. I'm also using an Attack Charm 3, and for my weapon I'm using the Taroth Pipes Paralysis. This has an Infinity Increase augmentation on it. As for the jewels, I've gone for Paralyzer jewels to max out the Paralyzer rating. I've then gone for a Sonorous jewel, because it's a Hunting Horn build of course, an Attack jewel to get attack boost to level 4, a Release jewel to max out free element, and then I've gone for jewels to boost my affinity via Tenderizer, Mighty, and a critical jewel. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 953 attack, blue sharpness. Unfortunately, this weapon can't get above that. You'll have 95% affinity so long as you have maximum stamina and you're going for weak points, 510 paralysis rating with a strong defense against fire, but you're fairly weak to water and ice. You'll also have the following skills: attack boost level 4, paralysis attack level 3, free element level 3, this brings out the full paralysis rating of this weapon, critical eye level 3, weakness exploit level 3, earplugs level 2, windproof level 2. These are both byproducts of the gear but can come in handy for when taking on lesser monsters when they roar or they use their wings against you. Bombardier level 2, again a byproduct of the gear but can increase the power of your bombs when using them, maximum might level 2, critical boost level 1, and Horn Maestro level 1. You also have the Zora Magdaros Mastery set bonus, critical status, that increases the paralysis damage when you crit a monster. When it comes to the weapon, the Taroth Pipe Paralysis, unfortunately the songs aren't the most useful. It comes with stamina use reduced, which will definitely help bow, dual blade and hammer users. You have all wind pressure negated, defense up, ice resistance boost, and sonic waves. Granted, the defense up and the wind resistance is great when it comes to defense, but unfortunately there's no real offense songs when it comes to this horn. But we are focusing more on hitting the monster, building up the paralysis rating, and ultimately paralyzing them, leaving them open for you and your hunting party. Unfortunately, most of this gear is locked behind the Zora Gamma set, which means you have to take on Arch-Tempered Zora Magdaros. You can swap these pieces out if you wish for Beta or Alpha Zora pieces, although it will be a pale comparison of a build. Alternatively, if you don't mind dropping critical status, you can replace these pieces of armor with what you see fit. Also as well, you can, if you want, drop the critical jewel for say another mighty jewel, which will completely max out your affinity at 100% should you be going for weak points, but at 95% you should still be critting a lot, and the critical boost will help a little bit with your damage output. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the anti-environment build. This build utilizes a horn that has a special song negating environmental damage. So for example, it will make you completely immune to the effluvial in the Rotten Vale or the acid pools in the same location. It will also eliminate the need for cool drinks in hot areas, and ultimately this build was first suggested by a friend, shout out to Wolfie, who suggested using the horn when we were farming Arch-Tempered Valhasak. Apart from that though, this build is a marriage between support and DPS. Anyway, for this build you need the Nergigante Helm Beta, the Kulftrov's Ire Beta, Empress Vambraces Beta, Valhasak Coil Beta, and Dante's Leather Boots Alpha. I've also got an attack charm free, and for my weapon I'm using the Heavy Bone Horn 2. This has an affinity increase augmentation, slot upgrade augmentation, and then a health regen augmentation on it. As for your jewels, I've gone for friendship jewels to max out wide range, thus providing that support for our team. I've also gone for gobbler jewels to allow me to consume potions quicker, an attack jewel to get my attack boost to level 4, an elementalist jewel as the heavy bone horn doesn't actually have an element on it, thus we can boost its attack a little bit via the elementalist jewel, tenderizer and mighty jewels to boost our affinity a little bit, and then I've gone for a sharp jewel as this weapon only has a sliver of blue sharpness and we'll want to keep that for as long as possible. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 991 attack, blue sharpness, 45% affinity, which is actually 95 should you be going for weak points with maximum stamina, no element, and you'll have strong defenses against fire and thunder, but fairly weak to ice and dragon. You'll also have the following skills: wide range level 5, attack boost level 4, weakness exploit level 3, speed eating level 3, maximum might level 3, stun resistance level 2, a byproduct of the gear, but nonetheless can come in handy for defense, critical boost level 1, peak performance level 1, horn maestro level 1, protected polish level 1, and non-elemental boost level 1, which is thanks to the elementalist jewel boosting the power of our heavy bone horn as the weapon's element is hidden. You'll also have the following songs with the heavy bone horn. You'll have attack up, scout fly power up, muck resistance, environmental damage negated, and earplugs. Attack up, earplugs, and the elemental damage negated are all the vital songs with this horn. So there you have it. As you can see, like I said, it is a mix between support and DPS. In all honesty, if you wanted to make it more of a defensive build, you could swap out the gobbler jewels for vitality up jewels to give yourself a little bit of extra health if you want. The rest of the stuff is not too difficult to craft, it's all beta or alpha pieces, and the heavy bone horn is one of the easiest weapons to craft. There is lots of room for customization here, so if you need to change anything, go ahead and do so. As I mentioned, this build was initially put together to take on Arch-Tempered Valhasak and countering the acid pools and the effluvial areas of the Rotten Vale. Be aware though, this won't negate the gases given off by Valhasak herself. Anyway, let's move on to the next build, which is the defensive or health regen build. This build focuses on survivability, keeping yourself alive more than anything else. So for this build, you'll need the Nergigante Helm Beta, the Valhasak Mel Gamma, the Valhasak Braces Beta, Empress Coil Gamma, and the Valhasak Greaves Gamma. I'm also using an attack charm free, and for my weapon, I'm using the Empress Raw Sticks. This has a health regen augmentation on it to add to our survivability. As for the jewels, I've gone for a sonorous jewel of course, a sharp jewel to allow us to keep that white sharpness for a little bit longer thanks to protected polish, an attack jewel to get attack boost to level 4, tenderizer jewels to give us that weakness exploit. I've then gone for a vitality jewel to max out our health, and then recovery and medicine jewels to boost the effectiveness of our health recovery. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 150 health, 100 stamina, 911 attack, white sharpness, 35% affinity, which will be 85 so long as you're going for weak points, 240 blast rating with strong defenses against water and dragon, but you're fairly weak to fire. You also have the following skills: attack boost level 4, health boost level 3, recovery up level 3, recovery speed level 3, weakness exploit level 3, peak performance level 3, a byproduct of the gear but can still boost our attack when we've had full health. And hopefully with this build, with the recovery speed and the amount of health you can recover naturally and via potions, it means that you should have full health quite a lot of the time. Evade window level 2, a byproduct of the gear but can help when it comes to dodging monsters' attacks. Maximum might level 2, horn maestro level 1, protected polish level 1, and you'll have the razor sharp skill thanks to the Empress Raw Sticks that halves sharpness loss. This combined with protected polish means that you should keep that white sharpness for a fairly substantial amount of time. You'll also have the Valhasak Vitality set bonus, super recovery, which increases the natural regeneration of your health, exceeding the red portion of your health gauge. When it comes to the Empress Raw Sticks, you'll also have the following songs. You have defense up, attack and defense up, wind pressure negated, and stamina use reduced. So a mixed bag of offensive and defensive songs there. Now ultimately this set isn't too hard to craft. The Vahasat Gamma and Lunostra Gamma stuff can be a little bit tricky to get, but it's not the worst. Ultimately my aim with this build was to create something that meant you didn't always have to sheathe your weapon and use a potion. Instead you could just constantly attack a monster and get your health back that way. But anyway, let's move on to the final build, which is the budget build. Budget builds are builds that you can create with just the base vanilla Monster Hunter world with no additional content added. These are normally aimed for people who have got to endgame and looking for their first build to craft. Now this budget build is a DPS budget build. Even though the hunting horn is a superb support weapon, there will be times when you're not hunting in a group and you'll have to take monsters on your own. So for this build you'll need the Nergigante Helm Beta, the Dobermel Beta, the Kaiser Vambraces Beta, the Nergigante Coil Beta, and the Nergigante Greaves Beta. You also have an Exploited Charm free, and for my weapon I'm using Desolation's Overture with, if you can get your hands on it, an Affinity Increase Augmentation on it. As for your jewels, unfortunately as this is a budget build you may not have access to all these jewels, but if you can get a Sonorous Jewel, stick that in, as well as any Expert Jewels, KO Jewels, and if you're lucky enough, Critical Jewels. The build will still work fine without these, but if you have them, you might as well use them. Anyway, if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, 995 attack, blue sharpness, 51% affinity, which is actually 100% should you be going for weak points and have maximum stamina, 150 dragon rating with high Elder Seal, with strong defenses against fire, but you're fairly weak to thunder and dragon. As for your skills, you'll have attack boost level 4, critical boost level 3, weakness exploit level 3, maximum might level 3, critical eye level 2, slugger level 1, and horn maestro level 1. You'll also have the Nergigante's hunger, hasten recovery, which allows us to regain health when attacking a monster, so it adds a little bit of survivability to the build. Also with the Desolation Overture, you'll have the health recovery up, affinity up, and earplug songs available to you. Now ultimately this is a DPS focused hunting horn build. It's not too difficult to craft as this is a budget build, but get used to farming Nergigante for a while. Now you can, if you want, if you have got a hunting party you play with often, switch the build around to be a more support focused build. To do this, get rid of the Exploited Charm and put in a Friendship Charm free instead, and afterwards make use of 2 Friendship Jewels. This will give you wide range level 5, allowing this build to become a basic support build with DPS options. Now with the hunting horn, a lot of restrictions are based around what songs a horn has available to it, unfortunately, and that's why there isn't that much variety in the weapons I've used here. The Desolation's Overture is featured a lot, but that is because I actually generally like the songs available to that weapon. So keep this in mind when you're making a hunting horn build, as it means that you could potentially swap out a jewel thanks to a song a horn has available to it. But there we have it. Those are the builds that I like to use for the hunting horn. Of course, Monster Hunter World is always being updated with new monsters and gear, which can potentially cause these builds to change and become even stronger. So if any major updates happen to any of these builds, I'll be sure to release an updated video. Remember also that almost any task in Monster Hunter World can be taken on with any weapon or gear set. You don't have to use what is used specifically in these videos, these are just the sets that I like to use. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful or informative, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you the builds that I use for the hunting horn in Monster Hunter World. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.